I meet so many people, especially from Asian backgrounds, like my friends don't believe in me, my family don't believe in me. So it's like, find people who do believe in you. And it doesn't mean that those people are bad as well. Yeah. I think this is a constant theme I see coming up. It's like, your family, they're not putting you up because they don't want you to be happy. But in their heads, what's going to make you happy is stability, or going to be that, right? Because they can't live in your heads. They don't really know what's going on. So sometimes there's this friction that comes about when people's parents disagree with them or their friends disagree with them. And it's just thinking, like, reality-wise, like, are they doing this to be mean to you? Probably not. They're doing it because they care, and they don't have the same sense of confidence that you have in yourself because they don't know you as well as you know yourself. And that's up to you to how do you communicate better, how do you get that across, rather than hating people for disagreeing with you, because it's so easy to go down that thing. I see so many people do it, and it's just, sometimes people are on your side, they just don't understand you enough.
Yeah, a lot of it is also unfamiliarity, right? Like you said, surrounding yourself with those people, and I can see it now, and I'm sure you can see it now, right? When you have this network that you've built of people who are the uncommon ones, who are doing things that the majority are not, then you start to see what is possible. You know, like for me, I always remember, even though I worked in banking, I started going to startup grind events. Little plug for startup grind.
BHQ events are better.
BHQ events much better. And for me, the reason I went is because I worked in Liverpool Street. This was in Moorgate, and it was free pizza and drinks advertised. I'm like, that's great. I didn't know what I was trying to get out of there, but I remember the first time I entered, and I saw other people who were the same age as me who were starting a business, and that blew my mind because I never had that in my network. I had some really clever people, you know, I had a good education, and people were doing really well in their jobs. So my view of what looked like the next step for success was, how quickly can I progress or move to another company? Suddenly I start seeing people who have come up with their own idea and are creating it, and it blew my mind, right? So that familiarity of, once I started doing my own creative endeavors, I noticed from some of my friends that they didn't really get it. So the unfamiliarity almost came across as like not like a judgment, but what do you mean you're using your free time to do that? And you're right, it's not a personal attack. It's just something that they can't relate to because they don't have that in their lived experience.
Yeah, and even on that as well, sometimes people will make a decision and they need to justify the decision. So you see sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs who aren't very happy, but they keep posting as if they're really happy because they want other people to think they made a mistake. And it's a dangerous thing, right? So you've got to live based on yourself, not on what you want others to think. And sometimes, say somebody's in a corporate background, is that by you going off their path, in some ways, though they shouldn't see that, they're seeing it as an attack on their choices in their life. Of like, oh, just because you don't enjoy corporate, like, do you get? And I see that a lot sometimes, and it's not them being bad. It's just, if you understand so many people have different insecurities, and you going and doing your own thing where they said they'd always want to do it someday and they're not doing it, you're kind of playing into, they're not living up to what they said they're going to do.
Right.
So they need to sometimes, for their own ego, and it's not, I say ego, it's not meant to be a bad thing, guys, but for their own identity or self-validation. Yeah. If you're doing something which they said they wanted to do, then they almost hope in some ways, not that it doesn't go well, but they want it to be like, they don't want you to disprove their life choices, right? And it's a shame, but it's just human nature, and it's not that they're bad. And I think this is one of the things I really struggle with sometimes, is that when you understand how different people think, and it can be really frustrating to you, but it's not a malicious, it's not a bad thing. It's just they're coming to terms with their own sense of self and their own identity, and they've got different stories than you do.
People will cheer and applaud you on your way up, like while you're rising, and they're your biggest fans. But when you actually hit that top, that's when the things reverse, because you've almost proved to them that you were able to do something that they always just lived as a dream in their head. And there's something, when I heard it, I'd never thought of it in that way, but you've kind of touched on it exactly. It's true. It's like, you know, if you came out with this thing that I know I wanted to do, I'll be like, yeah, go for it. Like, yeah, definitely, we share the same vision. We want to have that same impact and goal. But if you've achieved it and I've just sat there and thought I wanted to do it, then I'm gonna feel that that's a hit on my ego because you've actually got there, and it's proved to me that actually, if I put the same effort in or made the same visionary approach, I could have got there, but I didn't. So you've belittled me through just doing what you've done, right?